make sure that we are getting to press outlets a lot sooner than that. We want to make sure that we have a better way to text New Yorkers a lot sooner than the information went out. And we want to be clearer about what bad air quality means. Since this is new, the public needed more information about what that actually means, not less.
What do you expect from the administration going forward if, based on what your assessment is, and it seems that you're encountering an administration that's defensive about what happened back in June with the orange sky, going forward, what do you expect from this administration then?
I mean, my hope is even if they're being needlessly defensive, that they will take some of these ideas and implement them. I would say the last time we had a air quality scare a couple of weeks ago, we did see the mayor and the governor immediately get on TV and start having a discussion, which I think is important. I also will add that I think every level of government dropped the ball, not just city, but also the state and the federal government, because this was an international incident, and we want to make sure folks are stepping up a lot sooner. And so, it's one thing to be defensive. My hope is that even with that, they will take some of the lessons that should have been learned.
With the extreme weather events expect to become more frequent as the climate crisis intensifies, as you say, what do you want to see from the federal government right now?
Well, it's interesting. As I mentioned, it was a international incident that occurred, and we also didn't hear anything from the federal government. So we want to make sure the federal government is stepping up sooner, also beginning the educational process about what something like air quality means. Unfortunately, because people didn't listen, the climate is changing, and it may get worse, and hopefully the federal government can help reverse some of that trend, but also send information about what that means, what is happening when the climate change, and funding so that we can address our infrastructure frailties to help better deal with things like flooding, like being able to have infrastructure to deal with air quality, like the clean health centers. So we need education, we need money, and we need some things to change.
New York City Public Advocate Jumaane Williams, I hope you come back and see us on other issues, too. Thanks so much for joining us.
I'd love to. Thank you.
WNYC is supported by New York Presbyterian, where data scientists and doctors from Columbia and Weill Cornell Medicine are working together to one day help patients get a better prediction of their future health. Stay amazing. New York Presbyterian.
TV and film production could soon shut down with a new strike looming today.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Indeed, a hiring solution that helps businesses attract, interview, and hire candidates in one place. More at Indeed.com/hire. And by Palo Alto Networks. Palo Alto Networks delivers what's next in cybersecurity innovation to protect today's digital way of life. Learn more at PaloAltoNetworks.com.
I'm David Brancaccio. The union representing film, television, and streaming video actors is expected to call a strike today. More than 5 weeks of negotiations have not produced a deal with an alliance representing studios and streaming companies. Now actors are poised to join Hollywood writers on the picket lines. Marketplace's Nova Safo reports.
The negotiating committee for SAG-AFTRA, the union representing actors, last night unanimously voted to recommend a strike after last-minute talks and efforts to bring in a federal mediator failed to avoid what increasingly appeared inevitable. The previous labor agreement, which had been extended for 2 weeks, expired at midnight. An official strike authorization is likely later today. Actors would join writers who have already been striking since early May in what would be the first double strike in Hollywood since 1960. Back then, writers and actors were demanding a restructuring of how they're paid to account for film being sold to TV networks. Today, they're demanding changes tied to the rise of streaming services and the potential use of artificial intelligence. Meanwhile, media and streaming giants are facing a financial squeeze. For years, they spent liberally to build subscribers, but they've been losing money, and Wall Street is now demanding better financial outcomes. I'm Nova Safo for Marketplace.
I can't do better than San Francisco. I should go to this next story, a disclosure. Union employees here at Marketplace are members of SAG-AFTRA. Markets S&P futures are up 0.3%, and we just got a reading on inflation at the wholesale level. There was essentially none, with inflation year over year of just over 0.1%. It also barely ticked up May to June. That'll cheer businesses worried about supply costs and everyone who wants fewer interest rate hikes. Now, Anchor Brewing, maker of Anchor Steam beer, started in the gold rush, made it through the '06 quake, the Spanish flu, and Prohibition, but it is not making it through the post-COVID world. What some see as America's first craft brewery is closing down. Sapporo of Japan bought Anchor 6 years ago, but it's not working. Also, we're drinking less beer. Marketplace's Stephanie Hughes has more.
When Anchor spokesperson Sam Singer was just getting to be of age in Berkeley in the 70s, getting a hold of an Anchor beer was a big deal.
That's what the cool guys drank. That was old style. That was OG.
Anchor is OG, and then it calls itself America's first craft brewery. But it's relied on people buying its beer in bars and restaurants, which we didn't go to as much during lockdowns. Singer says the company's annual revenue has declined by 75% since 2016. And there are now over 9,000 craft breweries in the U.S., compared to one when Anchor started.
And they're wonderful competitors, wonderful brews, but many of those also are eating up shelf space.
Also, beer sales were down 3% last year by volume, according to the Brewers Association, a trade group. Bart Watson is its chief economist. He says wine and liquor have gotten less expensive relative to beer.
If you have two somewhat substitutable goods, one gets cheaper relative to the other, you're going to see some consumer shifts there.
Also, Americans are aging, and Watson points out the older we get, the less beer we drink. I'm Stephanie Hughes for Marketplace.
San Francisco Chronicle critic Peter Hartlaub had a line yesterday about Anchor Steam tasting like San Francisco. Quote, "It tastes like a cold, foggy day with notes of a sourdough factory and a hint of the metallic rail of a cable car."
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by C3 AI. C3 Generative AI provides ChatGPT enterprise search that is verifiable, secure, and accurate across all enterprise data. Learn more at c3.ai. This is Enterprise AI. And by Charles Schwab. The people at Schwab are passionate about helping investors. Learn more at schwab.com/whyschwab.
Attendance in the office is now 30% below the pre-pandemic level. The COVID trend has stuck. Well, what happens now to all that unused commercial real estate? McKinsey has analyzed this question. Aditya Sanghvi is co-author of a new report on this from the McKinsey Global Institute. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So I guess it's not just me when I walk through Midtown East, and it just seems quieter in those office buildings.
Yeah, it's not just you. You know, the pandemic has truly changed the fabric of urban real estate, and it really does start with the office. And it's because the office was really a place that many of us had to go to. And because of the pandemic and the technology adoption that happened during the pandemic, now the office has to be a place that we want to go to. The reality is that most of our office spaces are not set up well to be a place that I want to go to. And as a result, you're seeing a lot less people.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to find much childcare if you go into the office. That's a big issue for people. And also, unless you live right nearby, there's going to be a commute.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the commute in particular has been one of the main reasons why people are not coming to the office. And, you know, the reality is that the experience at the office is not always better than the experience at home. So even if I did take the pain of making the commute, am I going somewhere where I feel more productive, more, joyful, it's more convenient than being at home? The answer for many knowledge workers is no.
So companies must be reevaluating their relationship with commercial real estate. I mean, some are stuck with leases, not much they can do, but others are reevaluating.
I think almost every company is, and these are both the companies that occupy office space, but then also retailers who are having physical stores, and they have to think very differently about where their stores should be. But, on the office side in particular, most of our clients are really focused on how do I right size how much space I have. So only take the space that I really need for the attendance that's coming in, but make that space even better of an experience than it was before the pandemic. Because then maybe I can get the people that I want to come in the moments that I want them to come in, to work with the people I want them to work with. But to your point, they don't need as much space as they had before. And certainly a 10-year lease, is very difficult, because if I barely know how much space I need in 1 year, how am I going to know how much space I need in 10 years?
Aditya Sanghvi is taking the long-term view on this changing patterns of commercial real estate. He's a senior partner at McKinsey and co-author of the new McKinsey Global Institute report called Empty Spaces and Hybrid Places. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And it's the Marketplace Morning Report from APM, American Public Media.